Hello everybody, and welcome back to The Breakdown. I'm Tone, and it is wonderful to have you back here with me once again on this Friday, the 2nd of October 2020. Well, today, if you've been watching the news, you will have heard that Donald Trump and his wife, the First Lady, Melania Trump, have contracted COVID. Now I know we're here in Australia and it's the American president, but look, the news coming out of America now just has so much effect on what we have happening here in Australia. It's not funny. Obviously leading into the presidential election and all the stuff with Biden and everything like that. But the reason I wanted to talk about this today, as I'm sure a lot of people are going to be talking about it, but I want to talk about the timing of that when the news came out. It's Friday, and it was the end of our trading day. And as you probably already know, I work the markets and watch the markets pretty closely. And they were all deeply affected by the news, which just so happened to drop at the end of, or near the end of trading Friday here. And no doubt will have some effect. What effect it'll have in America and other stock markets around the world, we'll have to wait and see. Will people run to the gold and silver safe haven? Will they run to the Australian dollar? Who knows? But this is all part of a wider picture that I want to talk about today. I want to break this down for everybody. This coronavirus stuff that's been talked about now for all of this year, there are people that are getting pretty fatigued with it. They're getting pretty tired of it. I know I am to an extent, but I'm pretty resilient. I'm just riding the bumps as we go along. I know what I know, and I also just, I'm not reading too much into it in terms of the severity of it. I don't know what everyone else out there really thinks, but I do believe that there are quite a few people who are getting sick and tired of this storyline that just keeps being shared. And they're not really falling for it anymore. And I'm talking about the severity of the situation we're in with the virus. Again, I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I mean, I'm not going to be audacious enough to suggest that. But it most certainly couldn't possibly be as serious as what we're making it out to be. The way that they're making it out to be. And all of the things, all the restrictions that we're under and everything like that. It's overkill, 100%. Now, the reason I want to touch on this is, what's one thing that you can do, or a number of things that you can do, to try to drum up some publicity, or to, I guess, get a few more people on side with just how serious this could be, than to have the most powerful man in the entire world currently to be the one that contracts it, especially after he's been saying that it's not that serious, and that it doesn't really affect too many people, as I heard, them saying in the news just before. And now he's got it. Well, here's my take on that. I believe he's going to come through this with flying colours. I don't believe it's going to affect him hardly at all. And he's going to come out of this Even better than the storyline that went along for Boris Johnson, who apparently almost died from it. You be the judge of whether you think that's the case. But I believe that Trump's going to come out of this without any trouble. My problem with this stuff is the fact that there's a timing to all of the news recently. Now, it's all great for trading the markets, and those who are doing so are doing well if they're looking at things the right way and making their calls along the way to that, to that end. There'll be plenty of people that are being taken out by this stuff as well, because they expect something to go up because of this news or down because of this news. I mean, for example, gold and silver, upon the news that Trump had COVID, they plunged. They took a massive dive in percentage terms for the day. They took a massive dive, but I'll tell you, before close of market, gold and silver were way, way higher and were hitting the highs of the day only a short time after they went to the low of the day. So they plummeted and then they bounced right back. Now, well, the same couldn't be said for the share market. The share market closed on its lows. The share market's not as volatile, and it'll be more waiting for how the US market works. Now, I wasn't intending to, bring the financial markets into this too much, but I just wanted to talk about the effect, the psychological effect that this news has on people. It's visibly, it's easy to see in how the markets react as to how the effect that it has on people's psychology, but also the wider public, who will be shocked to know that Trump has COVID. And for those that might be on the fence about how serious this is or isn't, well, it brings those that are on the fence across to, okay, actually it must be just as serious as they're telling us. And they'll comply as such. So that's something that I hope makes sense to all of you watching this video. There is a lot to be suggested and a lot to be gleaned from the timing of these news announcements. There's always an agenda, and they're using it to full effect right now because the markets and the whole world in general are just so volatile. It's having a huge effect on the markets. It's having a huge effect on the world, but not necessarily the virus as such, but what they're telling us, the actions that are being taken in its wake. That is what is actually doing the damage here. That's actually what is having the biggest effect here. Not the virus, but how it's being handled and the effect that it's having on people financially and whether or not they've got work. That's what actually is taking the biggest toll here. And it is dubious, to say the least, the timing that this news has, when it comes out. Now, I don't know when it was known or when it possibly could have been shared to in the news. I don't know when it could have been shared. I don't know when it was known. I only know when I found out. And I know that when I found out, it was breaking news on the ABC 24, which is what I watch throughout the day, which helps me to navigate what people might or might not do, what people might or might not be thinking. I was not surprised to see the marked sell-off in equities today. I was not surprised to see the mark sell off in gold and silver at the time the news dropped. Nor was I surprised when it bounced back harder than it dropped. Of course, these are just the daily gyrations on price. It's not a long-term indicator at all. But there are a lot of people that are in the market right now who are trading it and are going to be being taken to the cleaners time and time and time again by the timing of this news. And then there are other people that are being completely deceived by all of what is going on in terms of the the whole stuff to do with what's going on in the world right now, right? The deception is huge, and I mean, look at me. I'm out here and I'm wearing a mask. I'm nowhere near anybody, but I've got to wear it. It's law. I'm not afraid of contracting the virus because, look, I really don't think that it's as big an issue as what they're making it out to look like. I've already been social distancing, washing my hands, doing all of the things that we're supposed to do. And we've got, how many cases per day at the moment? Like 14 or 15 or 16 new cases apparently. 14,000 tests done today. Anyway, guys, I'm sure you've probably... This stuff is saturating social media and the internet. And I'm not going to harp on about it anymore. I'm sure you already know my thoughts on this stuff by now. But I just wanted to talk about the fact that a lot of the news that's coming out now fluctuates people's opinions, people's thoughts, people's idea of what they think they know. I mean, it's as volatile as the share market, I can tell you. Most certainly, maybe even more so. But be thinking about what you're hearing in the news. I mean, the Trump-Biden debate the other day, it's rubbish. The whole thing's rubbish. And while they play their games and while they make up their big stories and they play it how they want to play it, and there are people that are taking, absolutely skinning the share market for all the gains that they can get, other people are losing out big time, right? Other people are unable to go to work come March, April next year, even leading into Christmas this year. I think there's going to be a rude awakening for a lot of people. And if I've got any advice to give, just be listening and preparing, like listening and watching what's going on. Don't be naive about this stuff, and do whatever you can to be preparing for what could be a pretty interesting couple of years. Don't take anything for granted either. Put away whatever you can put away in savings, and we'll weather the storm, whatever it looks like. As I said the other day, silver and gold have taken a hit in the last little while since their recent high. If you don't already have some of those things, hard assets, I mean, what I'm getting at is, if you're a renter and you don't have the money and you don't own a house, put something into something that is a tangible asset that you can't readily spend, but you can turn into cash at a later point if you need to. I'm still a firm believer that gold and silver are going to be well and truly more valuable than what they are right now, and in the short term, in terms of fiat currency value, they'll hold their value. That's the main point. Debt is just going crazy at the moment. and they're pushing at the moment. Here's another topic for another day, I guess, but they are pushing to get people to borrow more money, and they're making it easier for people to borrow more money. Now, they're making it easier for people to borrow more money with a lower prospect of paying it back. That's why they have to make it easier. Remember, the system runs on borrowed money. Debt gives the system liquidity. And that's exactly what's going on. I mean, it might be easier for you to go and buy a house right now, but if that was something you were looking at doing, just make sure you're not in, underneath your head with the water above your head, to a point where if interest rates increased and work prospects didn't increase, that you don't get taken to the cleaners. Food for thought, guys. Thank you so much for joining me on the breakdown. I really do appreciate it. If this video were, if you like this video, or if this video was helpful, please leave a like. Please leave any comments in the comments section. I will read the comments, and I appreciate this two-way action that we can have when people do leave comments. Yeah, if you haven't already subscribed to the video and this is your first video, I'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe too, because then you'll be able to get regular updates when I do put out a video. The more views, the more it gets out there. I'm sharing this stuff for your benefit. I really hope that you understand that. Until next time, take care. God bless. I'll see you in the next videos. Bye for now.